Welcome back to Quickie Wiki What. I'm Joseph, joined as usual by my partner Justin. Every episode, we each bring to the table a Wikipedia article we found interesting and attempt to explain our articles to one another. We are streaming this episode live on Twitch. Hello to the chat. But you'll also be able to find the VOD on YouTube afterwards, as well as the audio wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get into it. I hit record. You don't have to mouth it. They can see you.
What?
This is you don't have to mouth it to me.
Oh my gosh!
I hit record. Don't worry, we are recording this.
Oh my gosh, we're so professional.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You sound it.
I am.
You sound it. This week we are skipping ahead to Halloween.
Yeah.
We're having Halloween in June.
Yeah, you got Christmas in July, you get Halloween in June.
Oh yeah. Skip Thanksgiving.
No!
I am not a fan of Thanksgiving.
You know it's one of my favorites.
Christmas starts November 1st, and we ride that train the whole way.
No, until December 26th, and then you want to burn every Christmas tree you see.
Christmas ends the exact moment the last present is unwrapped on December 25th, and then you throw the tree in the street. You rip down the decorations, you set them on fire, and you move on with your life.
Well,
I'm not here to linger, to dwell.
I'm going to do Christmas as my topic. Maybe next week.
I know too much about Christmas. I don't want to know any more about Christmas.
But it's going to be the 12 days of Christmas. When does it start? When does it end? And I got a spoiler alert.
No, that's not my belief. See, here's the thing about it. You have to believe in that, and I don't believe in that.
I do.
It's not real. Anyway, like I said, we're having spooky this week. Mine is a ghost murder case that happened in London. The Hammersmith ghost murder case. An alleged murder of a ghost.
Whew.
Got a lot of questions about that, I'm sure.
do.
And yours is actually one that I had on my list to do. And you told me that you were doing it, and I was like, oh, that's on my list.
And I said,
go ahead, I guess.
Well, guess what?
I guess.
No, you're like, no, do it. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. I have a long list of articles to eventually do.
Long list.
But Justin's is
Jeff the Talking Mongoose,
who is a alleged
like a ghost or a poltergeist.
Do you know where the word poltergeist comes from?
Oh, I don't know. No.
German. Poltern is to rumble or to make noise, I believe. And Geist is ghost.
Oh.
So it's literally
like a talking noisemaker.
A noisy ghost.
Okay.
A noisy spirit, I believe. Before I was going to do mine, I was going to do poltergeist, and then I was going to go first, and we were going to lead into Justin's. I was going to explain what a poltergeist is, and then Justin was going to talk about this talking mongoose ghost, poltergeist. But I found a different one. I said we didn't need that much about poltergeists.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Me neither.
No.
I don't even know what it's. I mean, I guess it's about a poltergeist.
It's the one where they're like, "We're here," and then there's something on the TV. I'm pretty sure that's Poltergeist. That's kind of the famous.
I don't
thing
even know
from
that
it.
scene.
I always like this little girl. They're here, and it's like that's kind of like the spooky kid saying something. You know?
I guess I've only seen parodies of that scene.
Yeah,
and never that scene. All I know is The Exorcism is the one where the head turns around.
Yep,
I haven't seen that one either.
And they've got the stairs in Georgetown
from the movie.
Yeah, it happens in DC, I think.
The Ring. The American version of The Ring. Is it The Ring or The Grudge? Takes place in Seattle. And I went around to some of the filming locations where what's-her-name walked down the street in the movie, and I took a selfie.
There you go.
And that parking garage is
Did
still
it
there.
happen to you? Did you get ringed?
I got ringed.
Wow.
Here I am all these years later. It didn't take. The devil couldn't take me. They didn't want me.
I believe it. Spit him back out.
Okay, shall we get started? Well, do you have any show news?
Show news, I did have two pieces of show news at first, and this is what I originally wrote. Jack and shit. That was in the outline. But then I I remembered. I do have real show news.
Does it have to do with a new saying?
Well, one of them is. Yeah. You want me to do that one first?
Sure.
All right. So, I know you like we've talked about this even. Eat, pray, love, right?
Live, laugh, love.
But we also talk eat, pray, love. But what we don't want to do, that's not good enough. Because what are you going to do when you eat? What if you don't poop?
What?
You got to poop it out.
What do you mean? What if you eat and you don't poop?
Yeah. So that needs to go in front instead of pray. So eat, poop, love.
Oh, you're just rearranging them.
Yeah. Eat, poop, love, live, laugh, learn. Because you got the live, laugh, love is redundant because you already have the love from the first one. So eat, poop, love, live, laugh, learn. That is
our saying.
That's in my heart. What's going through my heart when I'm doing the podcast.
I thought this was like a new catchphrase, like in the last episode.
Quickie Wiki, what?
Yeah, that part.
No, this is just another thing. This is just maybe the motto, this show motto.
Okay, thank you.
Eat, poop, love, live,
I'm
laugh,
on
learn.
board. Sure.
And then I was going to do a follow-up because the last week I kind of promoted Wonder Woman and talking about some of the early comics.
Yeah.
And I've been reading more of them, and some of them are a little problematic.
No.
From the 40s.
Old 40s comics are problematic.
Yeah, a little more than.
So what you're saying is you finally researched your subject from last week.
I'm saying go skip that one.
Skip those. Okay.
No, but I think the spirit is still there. But there is.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, that's really enlightened for its day. And I was like, then I read I was maybe 2 or 3 comics in. It's still good to read. I mean, it's still fun and.
It would be difficult, I think, to find anything from the 40s that has really held up.
Yeah. So, but there you go. Okay. So those are my two real pieces.
Cool.
Do you remember the motto?
No.
Oh!
Eat, poop, love, live, learn.
Live, laugh.
Live, laugh, learn.
Learn.
You have to learn last?
Yeah.
I guess you learn at the end. Oh, okay.
That's the
after the whole experience, you've learned something.
Well, but we're learning now. And learn is what should linger on your tongue. Eat first, learn last.
Speaking of learning.
Let's learn about Jeff.
Let's learn about Jeff. Spelled
G-E-F.
GIF.
So, and I did an autocorrect to get. So there was Get the Mongoose for a while. And I was kind of like, no, Jeff the Mongoose.
Jeff the talking
mongoose.
And if I remember correctly, the Wikipedia article is just called Jeff.
Yeah, it was
but the URL of it is Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think they changed it at some point.
Wow.
Anyway, continue.
So Jeff,
tell me all about Jeff.
This is over in the UK, and I don't remember the different terminology. What's the
For
UK
the Isle of Man?
Versus the Isle? The Isle is that England?
The Isle of Man is like we looked this up, and I don't even remember what it is, but it's kind of like, I think you just vibe over there.
Oh, so it's near, but it's not part of the UK?
No, it is. Like, the Queen owns it.
It's more like a territory. Regardless.
I don't know.
It's somewhere over
It's a vibe
there.
thing. Yeah, you vibe.
It's over there. But, so Jeff the Talking Mongoose, also known as Jeff the Dalby Spook.
Yeah. Which is another word for ghost.
Yeah. It is this, I'll just kind of start. So there's this family, the Irving family.
Right.
They've got the dad, his named James. Mom is Margaret. And then the daughter, I think it's pronounced Voirrey. Voirrey. Is that how you say Voirrey? I've never seen that name before.
I don't know. What year was this?
This was in 1931 is when they really first started. So, and by the way, everyone, so this is 1931. So Voirrey, she died in like 2005.
Oh, wow.
So she was the daughter, 13-year-old. She was 13 at the time.
Okay.
But so she lived to be pretty old, I guess. But this is history. So it's all just, we can't go back and ask them now. So
Darn.
I know. So 1931, they reported that they heard scratching, rustling, and vocal noises in the farmhouse.
In the farmhouse, they heard animal noises.
I know.
They heard noises commonly associated with animals in their farmhouse?
Well, but they're saying vocal noises. So that it might be more like
Animals make sounds.
well, but maybe non-animal sounds.
Have you ever heard a goat? They sound like they can fucking talk, and it is horrifying when you hear a goat scream in the woods at night because it sounds just like a human screaming. Yeah.
Wow.
How many ghosts did they have? Did you ask?
They're dead. I tried.
Continue.
I called her.
Okay.
So, but this is where it's interesting. So at first they just would kind of catch little glimpses, is what they said. They just catch little glimpses, and it varied what it was. And to my knowledge, they would kind of they started talking about this amongst the town people pretty early. Like, hey, we heard this, and they kind of started telling this story.
Okay.
At one point, they caught a glimpse, right? It looked a little bit like a ferret.
Which is related to the mongoose?
Yeah. A dog. Okay, that's okay, yeah. That could be an animal that just makes we did talking animals.
Right.
Like parrots, they can make noises. Like dogs, they supposedly can talk even.
I'm not sure there are any parrots on the Isle of Man.
Well, maybe not.
But did they ever consider that they were just seeing different animals?
Well, then one thing that they caught a glimpse of it, and it looked like a baby.
Did they ever think maybe they just saw a baby, a ferret, and a dog, all three separate occasions?
A baby crawling around your farmhouse. They go, that just seems
baby
a bit.
in the walls.
A baby that's crawling around.
Yeah, that's a little sus. I'll give you that. That's a little sus.
So, well, eventually, Jeff, he talks. He makes, and it doesn't say how articulate he is, but he does have a quote later, and he forms fairly complete sentences. But he tells the Irvings that he is a mongoose, but a ghost mongoose, and he was born in New Delhi, India, in 1852.
As a mongoose?
Well, that he's a I don't know if he used to be a person or he has always been a ghost. It doesn't really say specifically. And then, but then once she kind of caught a glimpse and really knows, they'll show the canon version of what is Jeff. He is a small rat with yellowish fur and a large bushy tail.
A small rat, yellowish fur, and a large bushy tail?
Yeah, kind of like a squirrel, yellow squirrel, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know, do they have squirrels over I don't think they have them in England.
No, they do, because our squirrels invaded their squirrels. Their squirrels are really pretty. Our squirrels are really ugly, and now our squirrels somehow made it over there and have been killing their squirrels.
Oh,
yeah,
rude.
And they're pissed about it.
Wow.
They had the prettiest squirrels, and now our squirrels over-competed them, and their squirrels are found dead.
How rude. That is so mean.
Yeah.
Squirrels.
I mean, I don't know
listen up.
I don't know if they're on the Isle of Man. I know they're on the big part.
Cut it out, squirrels, if you're listening.
Sure.
American squirrels. All right. So, the Irvings on Jeff. They had kind of this love-hate. And it reminded me of I don't think you ever watched it, but there's a show called Alf.
Ugh. I have seen select scenes and maybe a couple episodes.
Alf was this alien that lived with a family that they found him very endearing. He was helpful at times, but he also was one could argue more trouble than he was worth, and they kind of were good saints for putting up with him.
He ate cats, didn't he?
Well, he never like ate any cats on camera or anything.
I feel like there's a scene of him like slurping up a cattail like spaghetti or something.
Oh, maybe.
I might be making that up because I was too young. I don't know. Alf was scary.
But the thing about Alf on the show, every single thing he said like got a laugh track, got the laughter. Every joke he did.
Well, he was hilarious. He was a puppet.
He was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
Every single joke. All right, Alf. So, but ways that the Irvings described Jeff. That he was an extra clever mongoose.
Yeah.
That these are quotes. He was an earthbound spirit.
Okay.
He was a ghost in the form of a mongoose.
Check.
Okay. What did he do? Well, like I said, there's some benefits to it. Because they said that he kind of guarded it, kind of like a dog, like a guard dog.
That's nice.
They had a dog, by the way.
I saw a picture of their dog. It's cute.
And so there were a lot of people claim that maybe the dog did some of these things and not
maybe
really.
You just have a dog.
Yeah. But he talked. The ghost in the form of mongoose talked. So he would guard the house and inform them of like guests or dogs or stuff like that are going. So if you left the fire overnight, he would go put it out.
Wow.
That was real helpful. If you overslept, he'd go get you.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And then he was kind of like a cat. He would scare the mice. He would scare them away. But in a non-violent and a non-evidency kind of way, that he would scare the mice away.
So there was no evidence that there were mice to begin with?
He'd just scare them away.
Okay.
There were, I guess. So here's a quote from Jeff.
Okay. Who heard this quote?
I imagine one of the Irvings.
Oh, okay.
So there's lots of people that claim to have heard Jeff, but the Irvings, mostly just the Irvings.
Okay.
Do you want me to? I'll do an accent. I'm a freak. I've got hands and I've got feet. And if you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone or a pillar of salt.
That's what Jeff said?
That's what he said.
I imagine he sounded just like that, too.
Probably.
And what accent was that?
I think that was maybe a little bit of New Zealand.
But
I wasn't going to do India because he's supposedly Indian.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess on the Isle of Man, they kind of have everyone in the UK, I know there are different accents, but to our ears.
But I think he spent some time in New Zealand, is my point. That's what he was.
Oh, okay.
That's my.
Did Jeff ever say why he decided to haunt them?
Well, they didn't really establish that. That does he have any motivation? Is he trying to? He just wants to hang out there.
He just saw the Isle of Man, where they eat. I think one of their favorite dishes is potato and herring.
Okay.
And he said, "This place, where I can chase away rats, scratch in the barn."
There you go.
Yeah.
He just, he didn't get to choose necessarily. If you just end up somewhere.
No offense to potatoes and herring in the Isle of Man. I want to visit there. It looks lovely.
Well,
they have a lot of awesome, folklore. Yeah, because I think the main character from Heartstopper is from the Isle of Man.
Oh,
I was telling you about
this.
So I was researching the Isle of Man because of Jeff and their other folklore, and they've got some they've got kind of like their own version of Bigfoot and stuff.
I wonder how big is this island?
I think it's very small. I think the population is not big.
Oh, so they've got a lot going on there.
They got culture.
Okay. Well, hey.
Potatoes.
Well, but it did say, what does he like to eat? He liked to eat biscuits, chocolates, and bananas. Those were his favorite treats that they would leave for him, and then he would eat it while they weren't looking.
Oh, okay. Those are all lovely. Those are nice things to eat.
So not just the herring.
Oh, okay. So he got other things besides herring and potatoes.
Yeah. So you got something like this going on, and they were not quiet about it. The thing about the show Alf is they really had to keep it under wraps, and they didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want anyone from the government to come and check. But these people seem to be just the opposite. They couldn't wait to just tell the whole town about Jeff, about this haunted squirrel or mongoose that's gonna come, that's causing all this trouble. So it piques interest. The tabloids loved it. They would be updating everyone on what's happening with Jeff, and eventually some psychic investigators came, or a psychic investigator came.
Well, now what did they find?
Well, this was Richard Lambert was a journalist. And they said what paper he was, but I forgot to write it down. And then Harry Price was a paranormal investigator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so they went and checked it out, and they didn't have any. They spent like over a week there, I think. And they, heard what other people would hear, and there were noises. And
they heard?
Well, but conveniently, it was always things like, oh, one of the family members is not in the room right now. And then you kind of hear Jeff talking.
Oh, one of the family members. And then they look up and they're suspended from the ceiling via a rope, talking into a tin can. Well, they said that the house
dropping
turds on the floor.
Had a lot of like echoes and cavern. It had a lot of little dead spaces that if you kind of like said something, it could echo around throughout the walls, and so that would be possible. That they would see like hoof prints or paw prints and stuff. And it's like, they sent it off, and it's like, well, maybe that's a dog's footprints because it looks a lot like, and then they got some hair from Jeff, and they sent that off. Well, that's also kind of like the dog that they have. It looks a lot like that even, huh? But they never flat out said that Jeff doesn't exist. They didn't make that claim.
So they found lots of evidence against the existence of Jeff.
Well, but they also observed
plausible explanations as to why Jeff doesn't exist. But this is just like the Bigfoot show on Sci-Fi or whatever the hell channel that's on. There's been so many episodes. They always go looking for Bigfoot. I've ranted about it before. I always have time to rant about it. They always hear something in the woods. They never get like video footage. The hair samples are always a deer. And yet at the end of every episode, they're like, but we know that was him.
Yeah.
But we know.
So, but I mean, that's kind of like the observed. It's very interesting that the paranormal investigator goes along with a journalist. It's like, oh, so the one guy's trying to sell papers. Yeah, the paranormal investigator was writing a book about the Isle of Man at the time, and so they all had a nice little. Those two at least had a nice little financial interest. And then someone else came. It was more of a scientist at one point. His name was Nandor Fodor, who I will talk about a little bit later. So what became of Jeff?
Oh, we don't get to hear about the science now?
No. Oh, I will say that.
Oh, okay.
I will. But he said he didn't see anything. He didn't see or hear any evidence of Jeff while he was there. So that was he must have been on vacation.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, like I said, Vori died in 2005. She was the daughter. So the dad died at some point, and they had to sell the farm. And interestingly, like I said, like it was. I talked a lot about how Jeff would help them, wake them up if they overslept and stuff like that.
Right.
But them telling the whole neighborhood about this was kind of not very good for them financially, because I guess people showed up. It was kind of a hassle that people would try to always catch a glimpse of Jeff. And so they had a lot of kind of unwanted visitors, trespassers, things like that. People thought it was haunted. People genuinely thought it was haunted. So when it's time to sell the place because the dad dies, they don't make very much money off of it. They sell the whole thing for like a loss.
Oh, wow.
And then the guy that buys it from him, his name is Leslie Graham. He takes a picture. He says he shot Jeff. He killed Jeff. And
a ghost murder.
Post a picture. I know, a poltergeist murder.
That's a ghost. That's a type of ghost.
Oh, well. But so but Vori says that she saw the picture and it wasn't Jeff. It wasn't Jeff.
Shocking.
Okay, so what was Jeff? What are the kind of conclusions? I think I have an idea of whether you think it's real or not.
By the sarcastic tone? By the skeptical looks on my face? By the lack of scientific evidence I've been presented with? By my general disbelief in all things paranormal? By my complete closing the door on the supernatural realm? What do you think?
You don't think it's real?
What?
Okay. Well, before I kind of say what Jeff was, I think what it wasn't is that
was real.
It wasn't just necessarily like this money-making scam. Or if it was, it went terribly awry because they got a lot of attention, but kind of, in the interviews after they sold, because it was interest, there was an interest and they would get interviewed kind of where are they now, after they had moved, and then Abby asked about Jeff, both the mom and the daughter, and they were like, yeah, it was awful. We really shouldn't have told anyone. And they seemed like sincerely like annoyed about the negative consequences of Jeff. So that's
you can want to do something and then be upset about the negative consequences.
Well,
later.
That's true.
You can do fame.
Well, but they never said also like, yeah, it was a big hoax. It was a scam. We did it.
No, nobody ever admits to it.
Well, but I don't know.
Do you believe in Jeff?
I don't believe in Jeff, no. But there's one that I think is a really interesting proposal that's at the end. So what was Jeff? Was he real? Was he a paranormal or an actual talking animal? I don't think so. So was it a hoax? And that would be most people think that it was a hoax. That was led by the dad and or the daughter. But the daughter was supposedly a very mischievous kind of gal, and Vori, she made noises. She might do ventriloquism and stuff like that. And that's what the common belief is. Yeah. And so then finally so there's the guy, Nandor Fodor, the guy from the International Physical Research, the International Institute of Physical Research.
Yeah.
So he says that his observation was that Jim, the dad, thought that Jeff was real, and that it may have been kind of a split off part of his personality, or he had some kind of mental illness or a personality disorder, some kind of a multiple personalities thing that he, really believed Jeff or entertained the notion, and that the family and the daughter and the mom were kind of supporting and kind of, making him. And that would be maybe an explanation for why the daughter never said it was, a joke, a hoax. Maybe it was, in a way, that could be like real to their dad.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like she egged it on, if that's the case. I don't know. There's a fine line there between, I don't know, pushing someone's psyche. It sounds like if she was into ventriloquism, she was fucking some shit up in the house. Fucking with people.
I think more likely than not, it was just a hoax, and that they were they were playing pranks, and it
got out of hand, and then they regretted it.
Yeah.
Well, let that be a lesson. Don't make up talking mongooses in your house, because you're going to get more than you bargained for.
Yeah. At least make it a talking goat.
You know, I really want to find one of these that has like really good scientific evidence. If you've got an article about a poltergeist or a ghost with overwhelming scientific evidence from the last, because people used to think like paranormal was science.
Yeah.
In the last 20 to 30 years. That's what I'm looking
20
for.
to 30?
Yes.
All right.
20 to 30. I want skeptics turned into believers.
So it's got to be someone from the 1950s.
No.
Nope, not soon enough. All right.
No. 1950s? Absolutely not.
All right. Well, what about this ghost murder?
Oh, okay. This is one that doesn't involve a real ghost either. Shockingly, ghosts have apparently been debunked, allegedly. Well, thank you for telling us about Jeff, first of all. I appreciated that.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about the Isle of Man, you should probably look at the Wikipedia article for that instead of listening to anything we said about it.
Or go there,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably some tourist things to do. It's an island. Now, my article is the Hammersmith ghost murder case.
Hammersmith.
Hammersmith is a part of London. It's an area of London. Okay, so what is this? This is a ghost case in the UK that ended up, I don't know. I don't feel like I can fully say this set a legal precedent regarding self-defense. It feels like it sparked a debate. But it sparked this discussion that someone could be held liable for their actions, even if they were the consequence of a mistaken belief. So, taking you back, it's November 1803, the Hammersmith area of London. The folks around the neighborhood have started to claim they've seen or been attacked by a ghost.
Oh.
The ghost is said to be very tall, dressed in white, calfskin garments with horns, and occasionally, sometimes, large glass eyes. I don't know what any of that. I don't know how to paint a picture of that. I don't know what calfskin garment with horns is.
Yeah.
So the locals claim it was the ghost of someone who committed suicide and was buried in the churchyard. Allegedly, you're not supposed to bury someone who commits suicide on consecrated ground because then their soul is not at rest. So that was the belief. So 2 women, one elderly and one pregnant.
Oh.
Not both of them. The elderly one wasn't pregnant.
Oh, okay.
And the pregnant one wasn't elderly. It made this distinction. They were seized by the ghost, separate incidents, while near the churchyard, and allegedly died from shock days later.
Whoa. Wow.
Another man alleged something came out from behind a tombstone, grabbed him by the throat, but he did manage to get away.
Okay.
Now, this is a time London did not have an organized police force, so the community members formed an armed patrol to catch the ghost. I don't know what the hell they were thinking getting guns and thinking that they were going to shoot this ghost.
Yeah.
An armed patrol. Okay, if you were going to catch a ghost, how are you going to catch a ghost?
Ghostbusters!
That part. A vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yeah, like Luigi's
A bagpipe.
Mansion.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they had vacuum cleaners back then. I don't think electricity was invented. I know it wasn't. But I mean, you don't shoot a ghost. Chains? Someone in the chat said chains?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you can't kill a ghost. That's the whole point of them.
Lasso.
Yeah, maybe some kind of like paranormal lasso. Putting it in a box situation.
Yeah.
People always think there's shit in boxes. Okay, so here's what happened. January 3rd, 1804. So a few months after this whole thing's been drummed up. William Gildner, who was a night watchman, was making the rounds. Around 10:30 at the corner of Beaver Lane, he ran into Francis Smith, 29-year-old citizen who was patrolling the area armed with a shotgun. The two agreed. They were like, hey, we'll look for this ghost together. After Gildner was like, I got till 11. Meet up at 11. We'll go catch this ghost together. We'll shoot the ghost. Don't worry about it. However, just after 11, Smith, the 29-year-old with the shotgun, encountered something. This something was dressed in white.
Ooh.
White trousers, white waistcoat, white apron, shiny.
Only ghosts wear white things.
Smith allegedly said, damn you, who are you and what are you? Damn you, I'll shoot you.
Wow.
And he shot the ghost in the lower left jaw and killed it.
Wow, good shot.
Now here's the bad news.
I didn't think you could shoot ghosts.
Here's the bad news.
Oh.
It wasn't a ghost.
Ooh.
Quickie Wiki, what? It was Thomas Millwood, who was a bricklayer.
Thomas.
Who was a bricklayer, and bricklayers wear white.
Mm.
Head to toe, that's what they wore. Head to toe white. Millwood had been visiting his parents, and his sister, he had just left, and his sister had heard Smith confronting him. Smith was noted, the one who shot, to be, quote, very much agitated upon seeing the body.
Agitated?
He was agitated. I mean, I guess when we think agitated, I think mad, pissed.
I was thinking more like annoyed.
Yeah, annoyed. But I think agitated can just mean like back then, like you're shaken. You're
he
shook.
could have been. I could see that. Yeah,
but he was taken into custody.
Well.
Yeah, he shot someone and killed him. So there was a trial, of course. Smith was tried with willful murder, which according to Wikipedia is, quote, the unlawful killing of another human without justification or valid excuse, especially the unlawful killing of another human with malice aforethought. So with ill intent, I guess. So Thomas Milfwood. Thomas Millwood's wife, Mrs. Fulbrook, she discussed at the trial. Are you still up about Milfwood?
Well, why would she? If she got a name like Milf, she must have had to change her name from Milfwood.
No, Millwood.
Millwood. Oh, okay.
I misspoke.
Oh,
the guy who died was Thomas Millwood.
Oh, okay.
But his wife's name was Mrs. Fulbrook. I don't know her first name. I don't know why they had different last names. Maybe they were ahead of the times. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what was going on 1800s England. So she said during the trial, she tried to warn her. She said, I tried to warn him, walk around in those white clothes because he's been mistaken for a ghost multiple times. She said, now I can only imagine her being annoyed up there. I told him he had it coming. I don't get that that's necessarily the vibe, but that's just what I was imagining.
I think that's what she should do.
Well, here's the quote from the trial. She said, Mrs. Fulbrook, she said, on Saturday evening, him and I were at home, for he lived with me. He said he had frightened two ladies and a gentleman who were coming along the terrace in a carriage. For that the man said, he dared to say, there goes the ghost. That he said there would... I guess then she's saying her husband said no more a ghost than he was and asked him using a bad word, did he want a punch of the head? I begged of him to change his dress. Thomas, says I, as there is a piece of work about the ghost and your clothes look white, pray do put on your greatcoat that you may not run any danger. So she sassed her husband before.
Yeah.
Rightly so. I would have told you the same thing.
Yeah, if there's a ghost hunter and I go out wearing white, I'd expect you to
Well,
say,
at the trial of your death, I'd say, I told that man. But I guess I didn't say pay attention.
You didn't. Well, and I think, because she has a Southern accent, I guess. United States Southern accent.
Well, this is in Southern England. So she would probably have had a posh.
Well, and so So when you tell me, then you would have to do it in a British accent.
Because she went Southern.
Yeah.
So I would go British.
Yeah.
My husband
out going acting like a ghost.
Oh. What region was that from?
That's just all of it.
Oh, you're just offending the whole island.
The whole island.
And Northern Ireland, maybe.
Yeah,
even.
probably.
Okay, so
beyond just Great Britain.
Sure. So Millwood's sister, the one who had heard Smith shouting the "damn you," testified that Smith didn't wait. He shot almost immediately. He didn't wait for the ghost to reply. He said, "Damn you, don't come any closer," and then shot him.
And then shot him anyways.
So the chief judge observed that Millwood had not committed any offense to justify being shot. Also pointed out that pretending to be a ghost was only a misdemeanor. It had a small fine. So
even if he was pretending.
If you are pretending to be a ghost and like scaring people, that's
Oh.
not a reason to shoot somebody. It's a misdemeanor. He advised the jury that the alleged good character of Smith meant nothing. And if the jury believed the witness, they should find Smith guilty of murder. The chief judge said, I'll quote him, "I should betray my duty and injure the public security if I did not persist in asserting that this is a clear case of murder, if the facts be proved to your satisfaction. All killing, whatever amounts to murder, unless justified by the law or in self-defense. In cases of some involuntary acts, or some sufficiently violent provocation, it becomes manslaughter." So you have murder and then manslaughter. Not one of those circumstances occurs here.
That's interesting. I would have thought it's manslaughter. It was kind of like he thought it was something else going on, and he did something dumb, and it resulted in somebody else dying.
Ghost hunting is not. You can't. That just opens a whole door of.
Well, I agree.
Oh, I believe in ghosts, so I shot him because I thought he was a ghost.
But manslaughter is not.
That?
That would be like put you away for 10 years or something like that. That's not like a slap on the wrist.
Well, anyway, the jury came back an hour later, and they came back with manslaughter, which is less than murder.
Yeah.
And the judge said, no. I said guilty of murder or acquitted. Those are your two choices.
Wow.
So the jury said, okay, fine, guilty of murder.
Wow.
Which the customary sentence back then was death via hanging and then dissection, which I assume means quartered or drawn and quartered.
I don't know.
Do you know what drawn and quartered is?
Yeah.
They hang you until you're almost dead, I believe, and then they tie you to the horses and the carriages and rip your body apart. Yeah, that part.
That's awful.
Now, that didn't happen to him. It was commuted, I think, by the king to 1 year hard labor.
Well, that seems easy. Maybe the king believed in ghosts.
I don't know what hard labor means. These hands? Do you see how silky soft these hands are?
Well, he's a bricklayer. He's used to it.
I don't know what hard labor is. No, I have no idea. I don't think that's a thing anymore. So anyway, plot twist, the actual ghost comes forward. Are you ready for this? After the huge publicity, John Graham, an elderly shoemaker, said, "I was the ghost." He said, "I was actually wearing a white sheet to frighten my apprentice because he had been telling ghost stories to my children and scaring them."
Uh-oh.
I don't think he grabbed the people, though. I don't think that was part of it. I think that was just stories circulating.
Well, maybe it was just someone. Maybe he was doing that.
I don't think he was doing that.
But maybe there was someone else that was drunk in the cemetery that someone saw a ghost one day, and then someone else got grabbed in the cemetery the other day. But the ladies that died, he should have got.
I don't think that happened. I think those were stories that were told around town is the thing. People were like, well, I heard, there's no record of this old or this pregnant lady.
The old pregnant lady.
I remember
it. I remember it. It happened.
There's no record of this. This is just people talking around town going, I heard, blah, blah, blah. The ghost grabbed this man, blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are,
92 years old and carrying twins. I tell you.
Well, anyway, there's no record that John Graham was ever punished. The one that put the sheet on and was trying to scare his apprentice for scaring his kids. Now, the effect this had on UK law. I will tell you that now. So apparently for more than a century, it's been debated since this case whether acting on a mistaken belief is sufficient defense to a criminal charge. So finally, in 1983 or 1984, so recently, there was R versus Williams, and I read a little bit about the case. I believe what happened was a guy saw another guy who was dragging a guy away violently, and he was like, "Why are you dragging him?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm a police officer. This is a thief, an alleged thief." However, he wouldn't give his badge number or anything like that. And he was like, "I don't know if that's what you are." So he beat up the guy or whatever. Now, it turns out the guy who was dragging the youth away had caught the youth stealing something. But he wasn't a cop. He was just taking the guy, I don't know where, police station, who knows. But I think they found the guy I don't think he was convicted. So it established that a mistake, here's a quote, it established that a mistake of fact can be a successful defense regardless of whether the belief is reasonable or not. Which seems like the opposite of what happened in this case. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to interpret these legal terms. There's a very, very short Wikipedia page on R versus Williams. And I probably got the story wrong. But I don't think I did. But there's some, it's easier to follow if you read the Wikipedia page.
Wow.
So from this alleged ghost story, there's a very shaky link with UK law today.
Ooh.
And that's how they murdered the ghost.
Wow. Well, they got the wrong one.
Not only did they get the wrong one, but they didn't even get the ghost.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a ghost.
Yeah.
Shocker.
I still just can't believe any of it. I do
believe you can still go down to Beaver Lane. I'm not making this shit up. There's like a Cock Street or something next to Beaver Lane or something. I don't know.
With Miss Milfwood running around.
With Miss Milfwood. It's just Hammersmith.
There are a bunch of sluts down there.
There's just a lot going on in Hammersmith.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. We don't shame.
Eat, poop, love, live, laugh, learn. That is what their motto is.
That part.
EPLLL. Hashtag EPLLL.
So I guess these aren't really, yours could be considered a supernatural story, I guess. Mine was definitely had an ending of sorts.
Probably. Maybe there was a ghost.
Probably.
That was around, but not part of the story.
Maybe there was so when the guy came out and he was like, "I was the ghost all along," maybe there was actually a real ghost behind
him.
Who never revealed themselves, who was attacking the people in the churchyard.
I can just see that guy. I'm so miffed. I'm agitated. That I shot not a ghost.
Is that what it was? Very much agitated.
I'm miffed.
I just think, I think this is a great example of of stirring, of things getting out of control, rumors getting out of hand, and people just believing whatever. And it's dangerous.
It is. So we've been watching the Golden Girls, right?
Yeah.
And the last episode was when they got broken into, and then Rose gets scared and she buys a gun.
Okay. Yeah. I was a little shocked because there is literally a Golden Girls episode where Rose shoots a gun at Blanche. She shoots a gun at Blanche. And I sat down here to have a good time. I sat down to watch Golden Girls to turn my brain off. And the next thing I know, Rose is shooting a gun at Blanche.
I know. Well, she blows up her vase.
Sitcoms were wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, she misses Blanche.
She missed her.
And hits the vase.
Well, she was shooting at Blanche's date.
Well, yeah. No one would have cared if she shot the date.
Yeah.
Not a main character.
They would have just buried him in the backyard.
Oh my God. It was a two-parter where she misses Blanche, shoots Blanche's date, and they bury him in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a good episode.
Anyway, good.
Stable Mabel. That's what they call it. Oh, my gosh.
Stable Mabel. Yeah.
Oh.
It was, Golden Girls is fun. I'm watching it for the first time. But it's definitely not totally what I expected. There are definitely some episodes that are not exactly what I expected.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a good. We could do a Golden Girls highlight show or something like that.
Oh, we could do like
season 1 recap.
We could each come out. Well, we could have like wildest episodes of the Golden Girls. I'm sure some of them have their own wiki pages.
I'm at every TV shows. We could do season 1. Talk about season 1 highlights.
Just spoil the entire season of it. Let's do it. Let's do it. No. I'm saying a modern. Let's get a modern TV show and then just spoil the entire first season.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, any final thoughts on Poltergeist and Ghosts? What are your yeah.
Well, I'm gonna dress in all white and go run around the neighborhood and make noises.
This, Justin. I'm gonna put a no on that.
Okay. But you practice your English accent.
I'm gonna go with no on this. I'm gonna nip that idea in the bud.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Well, as usual, all of this information came from wiki articles, but there's tons more information about these topics out there. Go check them out. And thank you guys so much for listening to Quickie Wiki What. Once again, you'll be able to find the VOD of this episode on YouTube as well as the audio wherever you get your podcasts. Mm-hmm. We'll be back next week, won't we? With more wiki articles to discuss. We're streaming right here at twitch.tv/halfmoonjoe. So we'll see you then with more wiki articles. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Bye.